This is Redmarley, and you are listening to the Music is Power podcast. All right, this one it's it's not one of mine, but it's one that I like to sing. Okay, this is called "Not for the Season," and Gala, this is for you. Springtime comes, the leaves are back on the trees again. Snappers are harder to see, my friends. Weeding out the weekend. Summer comes and gravity undoes you. You're happy because of the lovely waves of sunshine bend. Hiding from your close friends, weeding out the weekend. Candy left over from Halloween, the unified theory of everything. Love left over for lovers, leaving books they all know they're not worth reading. Not for the season. Winter comes, the days all starlit. There's motion on the bow where the dark shades pride. Losing out the feelings, reading out the weekend. Candy left over from Halloween, the unified theory of everything. Love left over from lovers, leaving books they all know they're not worth reading. They're not worth reading.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Joining me here today in Music is Power podcast is Graham from United States of America. Hello there.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
And my first question for you is, I'm always asking how everything began with you and doing the music and recording and playing and everything.
Well, I've been playing guitar since I'm 30. I'll be 31 soon, and I've been playing guitar and bass and things, just a bunch of instruments since I was about 12. And I'd always been in bands, and I'd never done anything solo. I've always liked playing solo, but I just never really did it enough. I'd never written a song or anything like that, and anything that I would try to write, I thought was just the most horrible, wretched thing I'd ever seen, and so I never recorded it. And at the time too, like when I was, in high school and going to college and things like that, they didn't really have. You had to put down a lot of money to buy good recording equipment, like microphones and a 4-track recorder, or things like that. And so just recently, I've kind of discovered some Audacity for doing multi-track recording and things like that. They're free, so it's like all you need is a mic and kind of a decent computer, I guess. And really, you can do the same stuff that even 5 years ago you couldn't do on a computer unless you had like really expensive stuff. So this other band that I was playing with, called In Overflow, they were a local band. We kind of decided to take a break, and so then I thought, well, I'll take this break to write some of my own stuff, and I just kind of was playing around with words, and I'd written a couple of things that were okay, but I still didn't really like them that much, and then things just kind of started to click, and I recorded some stuff that I didn't hate it, so I kept it, and I just decided to put it up. So thank you for I'm thankful for MySpace because that's kind of, if it wasn't for MySpace, then none of this we probably wouldn't be talking right now. Really.
And yeah, and I want to ask about your name as well. Why have you choose Redmarley?
Oh, Redmarley? Yeah, it's kind of funny. Well, okay, I've never been to England, but I'm absolutely in love with that country and just the United Kingdom and Ireland and I've always wanted to go over there, but I've never really had an opportunity to go over there. And so I was looking for a company that I work for. I was thinking about, there was a possibility that someday I could move to England with this company that I work for. And I was looking for places to live that would be nearby the city that I'd be working in. And one of them was this beautiful farm called Mellow Farm. And it was in a township called Redmarley. And I just thought that was a cool name. And it just, every time I thought about it, I just thought of this beautiful farm. And so I thought, I'll just use Redmarley. It's unique, and people that actually live in Redmarley, if they ever, hear me someday, they'll think, oh, hey, I wonder where he came up with that name. So, yeah.
That was pretty interesting story there.
Thanks.
And I have saw that in your profile in MySpace that you actually play a lot of instruments. Can you tell me what kind of instruments do you play?
Yeah, I started when I was a kid. I played violin, and I quit that after I played it for 4 years, and then I stopped and decided to play guitar instead. And so I played guitar, or I play guitar, and I play bass, and I play drums, and I kind of tinker around on piano and keyboard, and I play tambourine, I play the kazoo. A lot of it is stuff that's not really that hard. You just kind of have to breathe, and it makes noise. Those are the really easy ones. There's also one that I just got a little bit ago. It's called a melodica, and it's like a little piano that you blow into it, and it sounds kind of like a mix between a harmonica and an accordion. And so I've kind of had fun doing little things with that. It's kind of cool. I am always looking for new instruments that have kind of a unique sound, and thinking about how I can work that into some kind of song or something like that. It's fun.
And what is that, kazoo, or what do you call it?
Oh, the kazoo, it's like a little metal tube, and it's got like a little membrane in it, and you know how like for a harmonica, you just blow into it and it makes the noise? Well, for a kazoo, you kind of hum. I don't know how, it's hard to describe. It's like you hum into it, and there's a really thin like a wax paper membrane on it, and you blow into it, you kind of go, and it makes this weird buzzing noise. But it sounds cool in the right song. I don't really know. I'm sorry, I don't really know how to describe it.
No, it's okay. Just the first time I hear about such instrument.
Sure. If you Google it, I'm sure you'll be able to find tons of info on it.
It's great. There are so many instruments you can play, and you're finding sound from them.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Exactly. It's really fun.
Pretty good. And can you tell me about the songs there? You don't have an album yet, right?
Right. Yeah. I just have a few songs. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about them?
Yeah. Let's see. The first one that I've got up there is called Bad Dreams and Wishes. And a long time, one of my grandpas died when I was 10, and another one died when probably 5 years ago, I think it was. And the one that died when I was a kid, I didn't really know him that well. But he was he and my grandma lived nearby where I was growing up, so we saw them a lot. And my other grandpa lived up in Canada, so I would see him maybe twice a year. And so, I had a pretty close relationship with both of them. It's just that a lot of it, because I was a kid, I didn't remember it very well. So I had this dream one night that my grandpa, it was my dad's dad that died when I was a kid, that he was alive. And so in this dream of mine, I went and walked into the living room, and he was sitting there smoking his pipe and, reading a book, and I couldn't believe that he was still alive. And so then I woke up, and I realized that it was just a dream, and I was just really sad. So that whole experience was kind of floating around in my head. And then one day, a friend of mine said, I heard this song, and it just reminds me of you and your grandpa. And so I was listening to that, and then I just decided, I need to write a song about my grandpa. So then I wrote that. That's kind of how that went. I kind of knew exactly what I wanted to, like the melody and everything, and then the words just kind of came, and it was great. Old Ben is a story about Ben Kenobi from Star Wars, because I love Star Wars, and I thought, how there's people will do that thing where they listen to that Pink Floyd album and they'll watch The Wizard of Oz. I don't know if they do that where you live, but over here they have this thing where if you watch The Wizard of Oz and you turn the sound all the way off, and then you put on Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, apparently the movie matches up perfectly with the music. And so I had this idea, another friend of mine gave me this idea of doing a bunch of songs that you can listen to and watch Star Wars at the same time with the sound off, and it'll kind of tell the story of Star Wars by these songs. So I'm not anywhere close to having that done, but it's like my first attempt at it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. I think so. I think it'll be fun to see it happen. I don't know. Well, who knows if it'll actually happen or not, but something to keep me inspired.
But the idea is very good.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to credit my friend. It was all his idea. But yeah, it'd be kind of neat to see it happen. Honey is a song about a girl that I met in college and fell in love with, and we're still pretty close, and so I just kind of wanted to write a song about her. And let's see, I'm trying to think of what then I have a cover song of Chasing After Deer by Midlake. And it's just I added banjo, because in the original version they had two guitars, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to add a banjo instead of a second guitar. So then I also have a song called 1969 Chevelle, and that's kind of a funny one, because here in different parts of the U.S., and I kind of live out in the country, so I see this a lot, but people will buy these muscle cars, like these 1970s muscle cars, and they put these really big loud engines in them and kind of funny wheels, and I see them driving around, and it usually seems that the person that's driving it has they have like a t-shirt that's maybe like 20 years old and too small, and they have this giant mustache and a mullet where like it's cut real short in the front and it's long in the back. And not everybody looks like that, but I kind of have like this stereotype image in my head. And normally I don't make fun of people, but I decided to make fun of people in this in this song. And so that's kind of that. And then with I have a song up there now. It's a song that I recorded with Craven Canary, and it's another cover. It's a cover of "Naked as We Came" by Iron and Wine, and she and I have kind of chatted a little bit about it since we recorded it, and we kind of want to redo it just because it doesn't really. It feels kind of forced and not very natural. So we're thinking of either just kind of scrapping that one and not putting it up again, or and recording a new song, or maybe redoing that "Naked as We Came" and doing it better and trying to make it better anyway. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I have heard "Naked as You Came" and it's pretty good.
Thank
I think.
you.
Pretty
Thank
good.
you. To me, it feels a little bit too slow, but but if it sounds good to you, then maybe it sounds good to other people too.
Well, it sounds
I'm
good
glad
to
you
me.
like it.
Yeah, it
Thank
sounds
you.
good to me. I don't know to other people, but to me it sounds really good, and I have listened it a lot of times actually.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for doing it.
It's our pleasure.
And I just want to ask you about what do you think about album or EP or something like that?
I'd love to do one. In fact, I have a couple of other songs that I've written that I haven't done any recording yet. And actually, one of them is going to feature Craven Canary. It's a song about a friend of ours, and we're gonna. I've written some words and some music, and she's agreed to sing harmonies on the song. So I'm thinking in the next few weeks we'll probably get that recorded and up, and eventually I'd love to put out an EP. And just I've heard of these labels that they distribute an album over the internet, and they don't sell anything, but they distribute it and just get it out to people, which I think is a great idea, because nowadays it seems so common for people to just be able to, you just have that access to music for free, which is great, because then anybody can listen to it. And so my cat just jumped up on.
Okay.
Kitty, I'm in the middle of something here. Anyway, but no, I think I'd love to make an EP, and eventually I think it'd be great to do an album. I mean, I look at pictures and I always think of things in terms of what the album cover would look like, and I love the idea. Maybe someday I'll get around to it.
But you don't know yet when you'll be ready.
No. Hopefully soon. Hopefully in the next couple of months, I can have something together. So we'll see.
Okay. And I just saw this Meadow Farm Records. Is it?
Yeah, that's my own. I just put that because remember Mellow Farm was that farm that's in Redmarley, in England, and I liked the name, so I put it down there so that it said, because I thought having even just some kind of label name looks cooler than label none. So I thought, well, I'll put something there.
Okay, cool. And just wanted to ask you about the friends you have there. I have already done interviews with them, with Happiest Lion and Sven.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, do you work with them as well, or
I haven't done any work with them. I'd love to, because I think they're both really, really talented. And just the ideas that they have about music are really exciting to me. And we've kind of chatted, and Happiest Lion Kale is a big fan of Wes Anderson movies, and so am I. And so we kind of have the same sense of humor, and so he and I will write messages back and forth and just kind of these silly movie quotes that wouldn't really be funny if you haven't seen the movie, but we think it's funny. So and like I said, I haven't chatted with Lee that much, but I know he's a really cool guy and he's really enthusiastic about music, and just it's just really cool to know people around the world that think about music the way you do. It's really encouraging.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And of course, I want to ask you about Craven Canary. You are working with her, and what do you think about the future with her? I mean, you said you're about to record some songs, and she'll be singing, and she'll be singing alone or with you, or?
Yeah, she's wonderful. I mean, I've listened to her stuff. I mean, I listen to her songs all the time, and she's got such a unique voice, and she can do a lot with it, and she can sing kind of wispy and childlike, like the Icelandic band Mum, and she can also has this really cool kind of like a classic 40s vibe to it as well, and it's so cool to hear. Like you listen to the way she sings in the Abilene that she sang with Damien Jurado, and you compare that with Rearview Mirror, and the two styles are really different, but they're so cool, And I love the fact that she's got this versatility that that you don't always hear with singers, and so I kind of approached her with the idea of doing some of these songs, and she, she kind of heard some of the rough demos, kind of what I've wanted to do, and she's really excited about it. So hopefully we can work together a lot more, in the future. I'm really looking forward to it, and I love just even having the opportunity to work with her is just so cool. It's really cool.
Thank you for that. And just wanted to ask you, because I'm asking all the artists, one of my last questions is about a story of a live concert, maybe a fun story. But just first, before this question, I would want to ask you, have you ever played live? Because you don't have live performance in your MySpace profile.
Yeah, I've never played live as Redmarley. I've played in bands before, and I've played, the band I'm in that we're taking a break right now. We played in a local Battle of the Bands tournament, and we did all right. And we always played other clubs around the Minneapolis, area, and so I've played live before, in front of people, but never as Redmarley. The closest that I ever came to that was one night I decided to go busking, and I went into the downtown Minneapolis, like the heart of downtown, and just played on the street on a Friday night. And so there were all these people that were walking back and forth, going to clubs and bars and things like that. They didn't really care about what I was playing, but it was fun. The hardest part of that was because the city buses would drive along this road, and it would be so loud that I just had to stop playing because I couldn't be heard over the roar of these buses. So besides that, I've never played a show.
And do you have some funny story involving your live performance, except that of the bus stuff?
Yeah. Well, about my performances or other ones that I've seen.
No, your performance.
Well, yeah, it was kind of interesting on this night that I played live. The first person, because normally when you busk, you're playing You got your guitar case out, and you hope that people throw money in it. And the first guy to throw money in my case was, I could be wrong, but I thought he was a homeless guy. And I could smell, liquor on the guy's breath. I think he was pretty drunk, but he asked me if I had a cigarette, and I said no. And then he just threw some money in my case, and I thought, that's crazy. Like, this guy I don't know, maybe he wasn't homeless, but he looked like the kind of a guy that didn't have a lot of money. And I thought, well, that's really cool that, like, he thinks that, like my music is worth throwing his money in my case. That was really flattering to me. But then there was this other guy that later on in that night who came by, had no idea where he was in the city. He wasn't, because I don't know if you follow like the political stuff here, but the Republican convention was in St. Paul, which is right across the river from Minneapolis. So a lot of people from out of town came to Minneapolis for that week that they had this convention. And all the big politicians were here and all that stuff. And it was this big deal. And this guy came by, and he had no idea where he was. He had no idea where his hotel was. And he just starts telling me his life story about how his wife left him for this guy in Alaska and left him. But because he was kind of drunk, I couldn't tell if she left him a few days ago or a few years ago, because it kind of kept changing. And so I was sitting here trying to play this song and being kind of like a psychologist for this guy. It was pretty funny. He ended up giving me $7. So, I figured, oh, that's my sitting fee for therapy sessions. Yeah.
This is funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you. It's been wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you, really. And just wanted to ask you, is there some questions? Some question I didn't ask you, and you wanted to say? Is there something you wanted to say?
I just want to say thanks to everybody that's cared enough to listen to what I've got. I appreciate it. I really do.
The Beatles.
Greatest band ever.
And can you tell me the first thing you can think of when you hear the Beatles, and then can you tell me what do you think about them as well?
The first thing I think about is Ringo playing the drums. And yeah, I mean, to me, the Beatles are the greatest band ever, hands down. Yeah, you can't get any better than that.
Okay, and Elliott Smith?
Dead. That's really wrong of me to say, I know, but I just think of the guy. I mean, he stabbed himself in the chest, and it's like you really must not like life too much if you stab yourself in the chest. But the guy was brilliant, and he had this beautiful voice, and he did a lot of that double tracking on his vocals, and he got a lot of power out of that, and that's kind of what inspired me to do the same thing, because my voice is kind of boring when it's just by itself, but when I double track it usually ends up sounding better, and I got that. I totally got that idea from him. I mean, if I could write the songs that guy writes, then I'd be happy. He was fantastic.
And next is the Decemberists.
The first thing I think of with the Decemberists is one of those old sailing ships with the big sails, like the pirate ships. Because those guys, I mean, they're fantastic, and I love the way that their stories aren't just like love songs and things like that. Like, they tell a story with their songs, and they tell, like, you listen to a song like, they've got I think it's called the Shane Kill Butchers, but it's about it's this cautionary tale of these two guys in Ireland that went around. They were Protestants, and they went around killing Catholics. And so in Ireland, mothers used to tell their kids, "You better eat all your vegetables, or the Shane Kill butchers will come and get you." And so they wrote a story around this, and they wrote a story around I think it was like the German attack on Kharkov during World War II, and I mean they write songs about things that are so unique, that nobody else looks at, and they really have a cool approach to the way that they make their music.
Okay, and thank you. And the next band is Mum.
Mum, the first thing I think of is the word whimsical, and I think they actually kind of remind me of a lot of the artists that kind of do these like sound collages. Like they have, like, they find these sounds that are just out in the world, and they make it into a song, and that's really cool that they can make music out of these, like a record player scratching, and they're really inventive with their sounds, and I think that's really cool.
And next is Craven Canary.
I gotta tell you, first of all, she's got a beautiful voice. Second of all, she's gorgeous. I mean, I hope that someday I can do a gig with her, because it'd be really cool to stand on stage with her and do music. So I don't know. I guess she seems to really like birds, so I just think of like a little songbird when I think of her. That just it's like, I think of that song. There's a song by Jolie Holland, "The Littlest Birds Sing the Prettiest Songs," and I just have this image of her as like this little tiny bird that just has this beautiful song. Yeah.
Okay.
She's awesome.
Okay. And last is Redmarley.
Redmarley, I think of a farm. I think of that farm I saw in that picture.